Welcome to Expert Profiles Atlanta, where Atlanta's influencers and innovators share strategies for overcoming obstacles and achieving success in business and life. Here's your host, best-selling author and Atlanta influencer, Neil Howe.
Hello and welcome to the show. This is your host, Neil Howe, and today my special guest is Mark Kozik. And Mark is a real estate agent here in Atlanta with the Great Homes ATL Team under the brokerage firm First United Realty. And he helps residential home buyers by fulfilling the American dream of home ownership. In addition, he helps residential home sellers looking to get top dollar for their homes while incorporating outstanding marketing techniques. Welcome to the show, Mark Kozik.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Well, tell us a little bit more about yourself, Mark, how you got involved in real estate, and really want to get to what kind of clients that you help after that.
Sure. So I relocated to Atlanta back in 1999 after graduating from Springfield College in Massachusetts with a bachelor's degree in management and minor in business. I actually did my internship at a media company down here in Atlanta and just fell in love with the city and have seen it grow tremendously since then. After graduating from college in 2002, I became a greater Atlanta homeowner, first-time homeowner. So I was really excited about that, and my love affair with real estate in the metro Atlanta area began. Shortly after moving into my first home, I began studying for the Georgia Real Estate Salesperson State Exam and officially became a licensed Georgia real estate agent in May of 2003, beginning my journey into the world of residential home buying and selling. I worked in corporate America at a major media company, Fortune 500 company, for 15 plus years. And in 2014, October 2014 to be exact, my spouse and I, Curtis, created the Great Homes ATL Team, like you mentioned, under the brokerage firm First United Realty. We really strive to utilize our vast marketing and digital skills and have created a pretty substantial online presence, big social media following on Instagram with over 33,000 followers, Facebook over 5,000 followers, and Twitter with, sending out about 6,700 plus tweets. So it's been an exciting journey and something I really love and am excited about doing.
Excellent. Well, having a passion for real estate is one thing, but being able to actually have that marketing background as well is another. I think a lot of real estate agents struggle with the whole marketing part, and that's an integral part of selling a home. So having a real estate agent that is really good at that is definitely very beneficial. Now, talk to me about the kind of clients that you help. Who is your ideal client? Is it like a first-time home buyer, or do you have something else that you work mainly with?
We do get a lot of first-time home buyers, and we can get a little bit more into that. Definitely a group that needs some education on the process, which is something I really enjoy doing. We also handle a lot of relocation home buyers. As a lot of your listeners probably know, people coming from Los Angeles or San Francisco, New York, a lot of highly populated cities, they are discovering how much more affordable housing is. The great companies, recreation, and schools that the Atlanta and surrounding counties have. We also handle retirees. Think of your baby boomers in particular. They're discovering how much the area has to offer culturally and economically. And in the last year, we've really picked up with luxury home buyers, a lot of professional athletes, doctors, lawyers, and celebrities, with the ever-growing movie, film, music industry really taking hold in Atlanta. We also handle home selling, so anyone in the greater Atlanta that is looking to sell their residential property, single-family, townhome, or condo. And finally, the last group, both experienced and newly interested renovators and flippers. As I'm sure a lot of your listeners know, shows like Flip or Flop Atlanta, a lot of the HGTV, DIY shows, many people are taking that plunge into renovating and selling homes, which can be scary, but also rewarding. So we try to provide a well-rounded service.
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot to talk about there. Certainly. Talk to me a little bit about the relocation. I know you mentioned that, the movies and the entertainment has found a new home in Georgia. Has that brought in a lot of business?
It has. Atlanta is really, to me, almost the reality TV capital of the world. Shows like Real Housewives of Atlanta, of course, your Flip or Flop Atlanta, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It's a real cultural phenomenon. It's really drawn a lot of people to the Atlanta market. So, people that have been filming in California and New York for a lot of years, it's really provided a lot of opportunities. They see their friends, family, coworkers, production staff living here in Atlanta, and they're seeing how affordable it is. I've recently taken on 2 NFL clients and 1 CFL client, so professional athletes as well. Um, just goes to show that you could play in any city or film in any city, but they're really calling Atlanta home.
Hmm. Now, are these people that are coming in, especially for the movies or whether they're shooting seasons here, are they coming in and buying homes, or are they renting for a while and then going back to California, if that's where they came from?
Typically, they do to rent here, but there are a lot of athletes that play at different around the league, different leagues, the NFL, MLB, NBA, and they do call Atlanta home. So it really just depends. You are seeing definitely more of an influx of higher end properties, which is drawing a lot of the celebrity types. So there definitely are some opportunities. But I always tell people, if you're not from Atlanta, I always refer them to, really maybe try to rent for 6 months, get a feel for different areas. Atlanta has a lot of different pockets, a lot of different vibes. So you have to kind of find out what your vibe is, and then we could kind of take it from there.
Hmm. Well, talk to me. I want to get back to those different areas and vibes within Atlanta, but first, let's stay on the celebrities and the athletes for a moment. What is different trying to sell a home to them than just an average business person or family? Is there any difference?
Yeah, you are definitely getting into a lot of these athletes or movie stars definitely have, agents. So sometimes you're working, depending on how high level they are, they might have their agents work with you directly, and then you're taking them out. Sometimes we do with the technology that we have, FaceTime or Skype to show them and give them tours live of properties we're going out to see. So that's definitely changed the industry a lot. So it just really depends on how high level or well known the actor, actress, or athlete is. They also have different levels of income, obviously. So some can purchase cash outright, some put 20%, 50% down. Um, if they want to take advantage, a lot of them have some high level CPAs, so take advantage of the tax benefits. So it all depends, like I said, on the level of the celebrity.
Hmm. And of course, being known in Atlanta for being the realtor to the celebrities can get you some pretty nice deals with referrals.
Yeah, it's definitely picked up. Like I said, since the industry has really made its mark here in Atlanta, and I'm sure we'll touch upon it a little bit more, but Instagram is our biggest outlet that people have found us. We're followed by quite a few celebrities on there. I won't give out their name just for personal reasons, but
Right.
yeah, definitely the word is spreading, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing how these new technologies and new platforms are really making a difference in business. Instagram being, something that wasn't here a few years ago, and now all of a sudden, yeah, you get a ton of business just from sharing pictures and some of these beautiful homes around Atlanta.
Absolutely, absolutely. How we handle our Instagram site, and I think why people are attracted to it is, I take great pride in really knowing about different areas, knowing the newest communities, and building relationships with the different listing agents out there and builders. And with their permission, I do some video tours, and just 1-minute clips on Instagram make a big difference for people. Sometimes, even though I do take pictures as well, sometimes people just appreciate the visual of video. We've seen that when I was in corporate America, that digital arena really attracts a lot of people. So I think that's really what people come to see.
Definitely. I think video shares trust very quickly. And, if you put yourself in these videos along with the properties, you're definitely going to get the attraction of the market, which is great. Let's talk about the different vibes around Atlanta. What areas are hot for what people?
I'm sure many of your listeners are aware of the Atlanta Beltline. That's pretty much both a private and public partnership. It's a trail system that they're building in the greater Atlanta area inside of 285. It's a lot of bike trails, walking trails, and you're seeing a lot of restaurants and residential pop up on the Beltline. So when I first moved down here in 1999, areas like the Old Fourth Ward or Inman Park, East Atlanta were somewhat blighted areas. And slowly you were kind of seeing the change, and it's become really popular areas for restaurants, bars, and just recreation. You could, attach to Piedmont Park, ride your bike from your house to Piedmont Park on the way back. You could stop, and a lot of these restaurants are allowing, people's pets or dogs to come in as well. So it's a very unique lifestyle. So homes that used to be in the hundreds and 200s, now new homes on that Beltline are going for, 800 to over $1 million on the east side. It's really starting to make its presence now on the west side, the West End area near the Morehouse and Spelman, Clark, Atlanta. Right. You're seeing a lot of renovated homes being fixed up and sold for a pretty nice profit. And then you have your traditional home buyers that, if schools are very important, they're looking at the Mariettas, the Ackworths, Powder Springs and Cobb County, North Fulton. You've seen Mercedes-Benz corporate headquarters come into that area. So you're seeing, a little bit of congestion, as anybody could understand in Atlanta when you have this many people moving here, but a lot of high-end homes and a lot to do. So those are some of the more popular areas and the most populated areas.
What kind of people are attracted to these new areas? Is it young business types, or, especially for like that East Atlanta area that you mentioned first?
Yeah, absolutely. Your little 5 Points pretty much has the hipsters and millennials. You're seeing a lot of, with all the corporate jobs that are in that area, the Turners, the NCRs, Price Waterhouse Cooper, MailChimp. There's a lot of companies in that Midtown area. So people want that mixture of live, and play. So recreation is very important to them. They're mostly, on that millennial or Generation X and Y. So a lot of, colleges with the Georgia Tech and Emory. So it's a lot of opportunities for a lot of people.
Definitely. And you mentioned retirees as well. Where are they flocking to in Atlanta?
Yeah, we've seen an influx. Even my own parents who are from Connecticut I never thought that they would leave Connecticut, but they're considering moving down here, and they're in their 60s and a lot of 60s and 70s. A lot of active adult communities have popped up. That's where only 55 and older can live in the community. So those have pretty much, they could have their grandchildren over and stuff, but it's mostly for, providing an active environment for retirees. So, they coordinate going to the Fox Theater or going to lunch together, or having a chef come in and to their clubhouses and teach them a lesson on ingredients and cooking and stuff like that. So there's a real sense of camaraderie. And so that's become very popular in the area.
And is that all around the city, or is that more in the outskirts, away from some of the traffic?
Yeah, it's mostly, you won't really find it too much. There are some condos in Buckhead that do that, but it's mostly, ranch style homes, because as you get older, right, people don't want to do as many stairs. So you're looking at your Peachtree cities on the south side, Fayetteville's, also Woodstock and Canton, and Cherokee County. So a little bit more suburban, but typically within an hour to 45 minutes of the city.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's talk about the families for a minute. Where are the families flocking, and to what school districts?
Definitely, if you're in town, the 30309 zip code is very popular. The Morningside School District. There are a lot of charter schools popping up in town as well, from areas that used to be pretty blighted. The KIPP Academy is a really good school in town. And then you can't go wrong with, East Cobb and North Fulton have some of the strongest. And you'll see as those areas are even getting more and more populated, as people want to move closer to the city or closer to the airport, you're seeing more and more charter schools pop up. And I think as different demographics move in, it definitely affects schools, and people take better pride in it. So overall, the greater Atlanta area has some really, really good schools, but I'd say still the suburbs are where I'm seeing a lot of my relocation buyers, if they do have children.
Great. All right. Well, let's talk about what people are really looking for in regards to hiring an agent. What kind of things does an agent do for them that they're really looking for to solve their problems?
Well, there are a lot of choices out there when it comes to searching for real estate agents in Greater Atlanta. We try to do things a little bit different than most agents. We don't try to, quote unquote, sell you on our services. We share via our website, which you mentioned, greathomesatl.com, and even more so on our social media, homes that we like to tour, trends we see in the market, information on how to save for a down payment, how to build credit, new developments in Greater Atlanta, things to do in the area, and what's going on in our day-to-day life as a family. And I think people see our genuine nature. I always tell people, you really have to be a people person. You can't be in it just for the money. And I think that's why we've, found success. When a first-time home buyer reaches out to us, a lot of agents, don't even want to be bothered with that demographic. They don't want to wait if somebody needs to fix up their credit a little bit or save for a down payment. So when you're giving us a call, we like to say, like, we're welcoming you into the family. You're talking to a friend. You're not talking to, an agent. So, that personalized service, people are really looking for, the questions we get: what credit scores do we need? How do I save for a down payment? Or what type of loans? They haven't even maybe have heard of a term like FHA or conventional, or know what that means, the difference between the two. So, we try to provide a one-stop shop, from the very beginning, from our first conversation to the closing table and beyond.
Well, that's very important to have that relationship. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of agents out there that, can't be bothered. It's like you're wasting their time. But, that's what people flock to, is people that they can tell have a genuine interest in helping them solve their problems. So congratulations for doing that. What are some misconceptions that people have about buying or selling a home?
A common misconception is that you do not need an agent, to purchase a home, in particular new homes. The buyer also has to be aware that the listing agent has only one fiduciary responsibility, and that is to their seller. So hiring a real estate agent such as myself as your buyer agent, number one, doesn't cost you anything, and we can get into further details about that. And number two, you have a licensed professional that can guide you through the pre-approval all the way to the closing table, as I mentioned. Another misconception I see or feel that the general public feels that real estate agents are like used car salesmen or women. Just to be honest, a lot of agents in the market are part-time. They're working their corporate job or just got into the industry for the wrong reasons, just for the money. They haven't kept up on the latest trends, newest and hottest communities, in the overall process. And like I mentioned, I really like to come off and it's genuine. People tend to be attracted to people that they could kind of see through, if it is genuine or if you are, willing to take the time to walk them through that whole process. So those are probably the biggest misconceptions, just being, it is a sales business, but you can't come off as a salesman. You really have to be, a people person.
And, I don't know if it's the same now as it was 10 years ago, but, 10 years ago, everybody had an aunt, an uncle, a friend that was a real estate agent. And, many of them were probably part-time, like you said. But when you're looking to buy or sell, probably the biggest purchase that you ever have in your life, you really want somebody who is educated, knows how to market, is doing it full time. Do you still see a lot of that? Is that one big mistake that you see people make, is going with a friend who is an agent of the family because they feel obligated?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've heard my barber is a real estate agent or my dog walker is a real estate agent. So there's some funny stories out there, but, it's just speaking for myself. Like I said, I've been doing this since 2003, had to pass the state exam. And then every 4 years you have to do continuing education. But I also really take the initiative. I really network with other mortgage lenders to see not only who has the best rates for my clients, but also who provides the best customer service. There's who you work with has a direct reflection on you, right? So you really need to work it. You need to, go out to lunches. You need to go to new home communities. You have to, being a homeowner myself, we've done home improvement projects and have handymen and women and painters and flooring companies. And we did a big project last year and added a koi pond to our backyard. So through all that, you're building relationships, and people appreciate that when you share referrals and good referrals. So word of mouth is probably the most important thing in real estate. So I think particularly my background and what I bring to the table, and people can really tell by my excitement and what I'm posting out there that I love what I do and you're in good hands.
Right. And it certainly seems like you have that passion. I can hear it in your voice that you like to have that relationship with people and help them, get that American dream or that dream home that they've been looking for. What would you say is a reason that somebody doesn't hire yourself or a real estate agent in general?
They really think that, especially when it comes to new homes, like I mentioned, that that they're going to have to pay me. And what really happens is, as I mentioned, when you step into a new home community or resale, the seller is paying the commission. The industry standard is typically 6%. That's split between the two brokerage firms, 3% to the selling broker, 3% to the listing broker. So the buyer walks in and they don't have to pay a fee. So there's not many things in this society where you could actually say, I'm getting a free, professional, highly trained service for free. So there's a lot of steps in the home buying process. Of course, the mortgage is number one, and we do ask for and require people to get pre-approved unless you're a cash buyer and can provide proof. There's contingencies that are in this fine print in contracts. So the layman just wouldn't know, about financial contingencies, appraisal contingencies, and that you have a right to a private home inspection, so that we could negotiate if things come up in a home inspection, electric, HVAC, plumbing, anything like that, that you have the ability to walk away and get your earnest money back. But you have like I said, licensed professional to negotiate all that and try to make, that dream come true for you.
And what kind of fears might they have about taking action and taking that step?
I think people in general, hesitate to reach out to agents, and particularly out of fear. It's uncomfortable for a lot of people to reach out to a total stranger, right? So that is why, the word of mouth is vitally important in our line of work, and why we appreciate every referral we see and receive. And I think that's why we've been so successful on social media. As I mentioned earlier, we put ourselves out there, and people, I think, are attracted to that. Human nature dictates that people don't generally like to go outside their comfort zone. They may stay at a particular company for many years. They keep the same group of friends that they've had. I think that's why people rent, because they feel like it's simple and I don't have to really think about it and I can afford it. What I found out over the last 15 plus years as an agent is that home buying and selling is more psychological than people realize. There are a lot of what ifs, and a lot of people would rather live a very safe, conservative life and not take on risks. But what I try to do is to educate my clients, all of whom I think would refer to me as their friend, and set them up for success. I can't take away all the risks, of course, nobody can, but I can lay out a plan for them to give them a sense of security, good judgment, reinforce potential rewards, laying down roots, building generational wealth, tax benefits, and just developing a sense of pride. My saying, and what I always tell people, is there is power in owning your future.
Definitely. And I think people are looking for certainty. They're looking for somebody that can offer them some semblance of certainty in the buying and selling process. And it's not something that they are likely to be able to do themselves. So they will have some kind of inaction there until they hire a qualified real estate agent. Now, Mark, give me a lesson that you learned early on in your years of being a realtor that still dictates how you do business today.
Well, I always say, treat people how you want to be treated. That's been the key to my success. And just continuing to learn the new programs that are available. Just because I'm a real estate agent doesn't mean that that's just all I do, right? I try to give advice on credit, on savings, on how to save for a down payment. I read a lot of articles, a lot of industry magazines. I speak to mortgage lenders, appraisers, to kind of get an idea of how values have, increased in certain areas, or where the next hot area is. So you have to have, like I said, a passion for what you do, and also be well-rounded. Like I said, on social media, we share not only, homes and tours, but also, our family life. So it makes it very, personal for people. They're attracted to, the whole story, like in this reality TV world, I think that we live in. It's probably not something I would want to do myself, but we do put ourselves out there a little bit on social media just to, let people know that we are real people, and, you could definitely approach us and feel confident that we're going to take good care of you.
Right. And that's an excellent point. I always say that people do business with people, not with businesses. And you have to have that relationship in order to feel comfortable and be happy about the whole process. So, Mark, if somebody is looking for a real estate agent in Atlanta, how do they get in contact with you?
They could contact myself, Mark Kozik, or my spouse, Curtis Russell. We are the Great Homes ATL Team. They can contact us via phone or text at 404-800-9076, via email at assistantgha, as in Great Homes ATL, at gmail.com. Visit us on our website, www.greathomesatl.com. And of course, as we mentioned, specifically on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at the handle at Great Homes ATL.
Great stuff. Well, I'm sure that you've got a bunch of stuff on social media that people will want to go have a look at, see what kind of homes are being bought and sold in and around Atlanta, and see what's available now. So definitely, if you're listening, go and check that out. Well, Mark Kozik, it's been a pleasure talking with you today. I've really enjoyed finding out what's going on in and around Atlanta with real estate. There's definitely something to keep up with.
Absolutely, and thank you so much for having me.
And to our listening audience, if you like what you hear, hit that like button and share, and we'll see you next time on the show.
Thank you for listening to Expert Profiles Atlanta with Neil Howe. To learn more about the resources in the show or to listen to past episodes, visit expertprofilesatlanta.com.